My name is Joy Frost. I'm a jazz singer, a songwriter, a burlesque performer, music producer, and a Grammy voter, and I was a man bear.
My name is Stephen Romney. I am a former YouTuber, former film critic, former cartoonist, and currently an assignment desk editor at Fox 13 News in Salt Lake City. And I was a man bear.
One of the biggest challenges I faced since graduating was trying to find a sense of belonging in this world. I became an immigrant after I graduated. I moved to Germany for 5 years, learned German, and then I moved to Ireland. I lived there for 5 years. I'm now a dual citizen of the USA and Ireland. And it has just created a beautiful problem in my life where I didn't know where I belonged. And it took me a long time to learn that home was not a place, but it was a mindset, and it was a choice, and that it didn't have to be concentrated in four walls. It's something that you carry with you and you can take anywhere. And God, I wish I would have figured that out like a long time ago, but I know it now.
When it comes to the biggest challenge that I faced since leaving high school, I would definitely have to say I'm one of those people who didn't really handle the transition to adulthood particularly well. And it was due to equal parts of wanting to stay within the comfort of a routine, but also just being limited by certain factors. For example, I didn't have my driver's license until I was 23, didn't have my car until shortly after, and so naturally a lot of my options were limited due to factors like that. And another factor was that my mental health was not in a good place. I'll be the first to admit it. And there were a lot of underlying issues that led to me being reliant on the structure as a source of comfort. And naturally, that led me to being susceptible to some pretty negative influences that, whether through providence or just sheer luck, I've managed to grow apart from.
I can say that yes and no. I expected to be here, but also there's been plenty of surprises. I expected I would go into music. That's exactly what I did. And I'm having a great time, feeling really fulfilled and proud of my work. But I never expected to go into burlesque. I never expected that I would move to Ireland. I didn't know that would happen. But I'm glad that it did. Lass es überraschen. It's German for let yourself be surprised.
Honestly, I did not expect to end up working in news. It just kind of happened due to a number of fortuitous coincidences. When I was going to college, I was primarily trying to double major in both film and animation. Unfortunately, due to some issues with an academic advisor who, at the very least to their credit, owned up to their mistake, I was given an incomplete list of classes, and I was under a very strict limitation due to a digital arts grant that I was using to attend classes, so I ended up having to salvage it into a film production degree with a focus on visual effects. And while I was going to college, I ended up getting work as both a film critic and a weekly cartoonist. Now, I was not a good artist by any stretch of the imagination, and honestly, I'm still not that great of an artist. I was just the only one crazy enough to do it from week to week. And in addition to reviewing films, I was also expected to cover news stories that happened in the community as an additional reporter. Arts and entertainment was my primary beat, but if there was a news story that needed to be covered, I had to be on deck to cover it. And that led to some pretty interesting stories that I ended up covering, like a protest at the Capitol back when there was the first wave of student protests in Venezuela. Then after leaving college, I worked in a number of different industries. I worked in benefits administration, helping companies manage information for health insurance companies. I sold the diabetes supplies. I worked in customer service. And it wasn't really until around 2019 or so when I eventually got a job as a studio technician at Fox 13 News. And then the pandemic happened. And when the pandemic happened, they cut all of our hours and they were asking anybody if they had any extra skills they could develop. And fortunately for me, the then manager of the assignment desk at the time had worked with me at the same college newspaper. So he told the web team and told the higher ups, hey, we have this really good writer working as a member of our floor crews. Let's give him some stories to write. And then from there, I worked my way up to the assignment desk, and that's where I've been ever since. Despite not having any journalism degree, just honestly, sheer luck and making the right connections.
If I could tell my younger self something, I would tell her, first, that I haven't cut in 15 years, and I hope she would be very proud of me. And the next thing I would tell her is I would tell her that retinol is actually great for acne. Like as soon as I started using that, my acne disappeared, finally. So, I mean, these are the silly things and the painful things I would share.
If I could talk to my younger self, I would give him 2 pieces of advice. One would be, don't be so afraid to fail that you never try. I mean, you often hear don't fly too close to the sun, but they often forget that in the story of Icarus, Dale just warns his son not only not to fly too close to the sun, but not to fly too close to the ocean lest he sink. And it can be very, very tempting to want to take the quick and easy path, the path of least resistance, the path of low risk. But if you try to always take the safe way, you'll never really give yourself the opportunity you need to grow, the opportunity to learn who you are as a person, or even really the opportunity to earnestly go after the dreams that you're passionate about. And as for my second piece of advice, it would simply be this. Don't waste your time trying to earn the approval of those who were never fit to give it in the first place. There were a lot of people in my life growing up that for some reason I really cared about their opinion and I really sought their approval. But looking back now and looking at where those specific people are in their lives, I had no business listening to them because they did not know what they were talking about. There are some people out there who are just out to tear you down for the sake of tearing you down, for the sake of tearing everyone else down, because of their own insecurities. You don't need to waste time and energy listening to those people.
To anyone whose high school experience wasn't great, I would tell you to not lose hope, because you're about to have more power over your life than you've ever had. And you can build any life for yourself that you desire. And be your authentic self. There are people out there who will cherish you for it, not reject you. Really, life is just getting started, as cliche and stupid as that sounds. It's actually true. And from now on, you're only going to be smarter, more free, more powerful, and just more yourself than ever.
For those whose high school experiences weren't ideal, you're probably carrying a lot of complicated emotions and maybe even a great deal of pain. But it's important to remember that graduating high school is just the beginning. To quote Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're taking your first steps into a much larger world. And it's important to remember that life is long. Really, really long. You'll have plenty of time to ask questions, make mistakes, get messy. And honestly, that's the beauty of it. You don't have to worry about hitting certain milestones. You don't have to operate under someone else's timetable. You'll have a whole lifetime to figure out who you are, what you value. And sometimes you may not have thrived in one environment, but you may find yourself in a place that is more you, that you feel like you belong, that is more aligned with your core identity. Sometimes it just takes you longer to find that than others.
Dreams don't take time to come true. They take alignment. So, whatever's not in alignment, let it go. Things will happen for you a lot faster that way.
As someone who's been working in news and witnessing a lot of historical events at a rate that is probably faster than anything our ancestors have ever experienced over the course of human history, I don't blame you if you're feeling a little bit uncertain about what lies ahead. These are definitely strange and interesting times that you are graduating into, but if there's one thing that I've learned is that the future is not yet written. No one's is. Every day is a new opportunity for growth. Every day is a new opportunity to make your life that much better. And naturally, in the face of whatever comes your way, good or ill, it's important to remember one thing. Try to be nice, but never fail to be kind. And don't worry, you've got this.